one of the biggest frustrations for the libertarian faithful is that we are being ignored by the duopoly. Yep. We're getting pushed out of the debates. I know that the Libertarian Party has taken it to court, and we got squashed there as well. It's a problem that I don't think the free market can help us with. No. I heard that the Boogie Boys were talking about maybe taking you up on stage, and I was wondering if you were contemplating accepting that offer, and if so, can I come?
On what stage?
The debate stage.
Oh, yeah, no, it's still private property. It's wrong, it's unjust, but it's still private property, so I will respect that. However, we are trying to come up with our own debates and our own arena in which we can get the word out there. But let me just mention, I've been trying to tell people #fake debates, because we hear the media say two old rich white guys, and that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is both of them want to spend our money. Both of them want to make decisions for us. Neither one's doing anything about the crushing healthcare costs, and neither one wants to bring the troops home. And by limiting it to just those two people, they say they're helping the American people because it'd be too crowded with anybody else, despite the fact that they had 9 people, in the primary. No, they're just doing it for themselves. They're not doing it for the American people. And by the way, if it were up to me, I would have 4 of us on stage. Anybody who could theoretically get enough electoral votes to win the presidency, I think should be on stage. So we're still going to try to make a ruckus, and I'm not even sure what we have planned for the night of the debates, but all I know is I'm supposed to be teaching class that night, and I'm not teaching class because I'm going to be somewhere doing something. So thank you.
Woo!
Given your stance on defunding the Federal Reserve or abolishing it completely, what would you say your stance on state banking would be?
State banking? As a federal government, I don't think we should get involved, because anytime you ask the federal government to get involved, then you just bring in more problems. And, just look at Elizabeth Dole at the Highway Department. People said, oh, wouldn't it be great to have the federal government help us with highway funds? So they send the money to the federal government, and then the federal government says, Elizabeth Dole says, well, you can have your money back only if you raise your drinking age, which, by the way, maybe 21 is a better drinking age, but it shouldn't be the federal government doing that. Education, people say, let's get the federal government involved in education, and then look what happens. We have Common Core. So I would say that I would leave that up to the states, and at least there can be movement within the states, as we've seen from the people of California leaving in droves. So I just think anytime you ask the federal government to get involved, you're going to make things worse.
For sure.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Not everybody's recognized it.
I've seen them in concert like 5 times.
Hi. Could you please tell me your position on global warming and the environment?
I don't get into a debate on how much the Earth is warming, whether it's warming through man-made cause or not man-made cause, whatever. But as far as where we are now, what's the best thing to do where we are right now? And I say by far the best way to take care of the Earth is with private business and not the federal government. And first of all, if you just get out a globe and look, wherever there's bigger government, there tends to be more pollution. Wherever there's less government, there's less pollution. And I can give you two examples here. One is the Gulf oil spill. And a lot of people said, look, it was a corporation. This is why we need the government involved, because corporations don't care about the environment. Actually, the government had given them a liability cap so that when they had the spill, they didn't go bankrupt. They didn't go out of business. They didn't have to basically pay for their mess. In a private market, what would have happened is they would have had to have gone to an insurance company, and the insurance company would either said, nope, too risky, we're not going to insure you, you can't do it, in which case they could have done it, but they would have at least gone bankrupt. Or the insurance company would have said, okay, but it's kind of risky, we'll insure you, but we're going to come out every week or every month to make sure it's going okay because we don't want to pay a claim. So there's a profit motive to keep that from happening. But what happened instead was the federal government said, don't worry about it, and then the taxpayers paid the bill. You know, it's no skin off of the government. What do they care? What matters is people who own the land. And I would suggest that timber companies certainly wouldn't let these fires happen the way the federal government has, because their profits would literally be going up in smoke. Last, I met with two wonderful women who are part of a group called PERC, P-E-R-C. They're out of Bozeman, Montana. And they told me this, you've heard of them? They told me this local case where the beautiful wooded area and the community and the timber company, you know, wanted to sell it and cut down the trees. And the local people were like, no, they're beautiful trees. We want it. And so they actually put a bid in and they beat the timber company's price. And so then they were like, now what do? We won the bid. How are we going to raise enough money, you know, to pay for this? And they raised the money within 2 weeks. So that just shows that there are people who are interested in conservation, people who are willing to put their money towards it. And by the way, the state government, after that happened, they changed it so now that can never happen again. So now the timber companies, the corporations will get their way. Because again, they're the ones making the campaign contributions. So I say that let the highest value get it. And oftentimes the highest value, well, usually the worst, the people who care about it the least are the people in government, because it's no skin off of their nose.